Hi, everyone. Welcome. If you don't know me, my name is Vanessa. I am the founder of the AI for HR community, and I am genuinely so excited to have you all here today. This is a really special session for us, not just because it's a demo, but because it's exactly the kind of conversation we love to bring into this community. Real tools solving real problems. And today we have Kristjan Kristjansson joining us. He is the co founder and CEO of 50 Skills. And I'll be honest, and I've said this a couple times to a couple people in this group. When I first saw a demo of 50 Skills, my immediate reaction was, where was this when I was in house? Because if you've worked in HR operations, especially in growing or scaling environments, you know how fragmented things can get, right? You have systems not talking to each other, you have manual processes everywhere, you have compliance stress, like it's always in the background. And what really stood out to me about 50 Skills is how intentionally it's built to simplify that, especially for teams that don't have massive HR tech stacks or resources. So we're going to keep this interactive. Kristjan will walk us through the product first so everyone gets a clear understanding of what 50 Skill is, and then we'll open it up for questions. So with that, Kristjan, I'd love to hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm really excited about showing you guys what this is about, and also just talking about it in general. And I want this to be interactive. This is not prepped. Like we don't have a slide deck or anything like that. It's like building in public. Whatever you guys want to see, we'll actually start building that. So let's have some fun with it. And I honestly want this to feel like we're just sitting together at a dinner table, not thinking too much that we're like kind of all calling in from multiple countries and areas here at the same time. But if I kind of kick this off, so like our big mission here and vision is literally just to simplify how processes get built and used. And it's like now that we have AI, there's technology that can actually allow us to do that. So in my world, if I think about the ultimate experience and then kind of go, reverse backwards to the technology, then the experience in my mind should be, you should just be able to talk and describe what you want. And AI should be able to build it in the interfaces and views that you want to use. It should be able to connect with anything and it should just work. And that's literally what we are building. We have the first versions of that ready, and it's already like our platform is really powerful at building these processes and using them. But like now with AI, you can just have it build whatever you want in the platform. Just quickly, like how this started and how I got into it. So I've been working with startups for about 20 years. I was the CEO of this thing called Icelandic Startups in Iceland, where we were basically helping people to take an idea into execution. I started the first accelerators in Iceland, where we were investing in companies. I've traveled the world. And I joined one of the companies that was doing really well. And we raised a ton of money. I think it was like 35 million in total in capital. And we like grew from like a small team to like 200 people. While I was in that journey, like I was sort of a jack of all trades, responsible for like setting up systems and structures and all these tools. And I faced all these problems that we're talking about, which is sort of like these things need to talk to each other. And like you're always hitting a wall with just like what you want to do. There's always some limitations. So a very frequent issue was like you wanted to do something, but then you needed like to have a technical person in the company, like go and build it. And you need to like book a meeting with them. You need to get like approval to do what you want to do. You need to like prove your business case. And it just kind of, I don't know. And then if it gets approved and built, it's not really what you wanted to do. And sometimes you need to buy this like outside of house. And then it's like $100 to just make a small change. And literally now with AI, like these things are changing. You can just go and do it yourself. And if you need changes, just describe them and they will happen in front of you. And that is happening in every field. So that's sort of the intro here. Our platform also, just before I show it to you, like last year, it was about 1 million actions that were automated through the platform. Our customers have built thousands of different workflows that are built in it. And I'm happy to cover like what they built, what's working, what's not working, how do you actually make this thing do stuff you want, and gain back like the hours that people are kind of losing. That's the whole point. as well as just making stuff more productive. And so with that in mind, I would actually love, if it makes sense, Stacey and Vanessa, like just to go into it and share the screen and show people. So let me take one example of just showing it, and then we can build something together. So let's say that we've built a process here. And let's just go here and show you how this works. So let's imagine that you have a bunch of employees, and you tell your employees like, hey, if you need anything, just go to this portal and fill out a form to execute it. That's like one way to do it. Let's just say you have like, you're offering health benefits, and let's just say that you want to like, I don't know, let's just flu vaccination, gym membership, something, and you're offering some sort of discount.
A little bit. Can you zoom in a little bit? Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this better? Like this?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Perfect. Yeah. And so somebody's filling this out, and they have like a receipt or something. They bought a gym membership for 948 euros. So let's just kind of show you this one here. And some employee is just submitting the form. And the second they submit it, you added a record here. This process here started this in the back end. And it's basically saying, oh, somebody submitted a form. In this case, it wasn't a flu vaccination. It was a gym membership. And the first step is like that an AI agent is now checking, like, is this receipt legitimate? Does it match the report and the policy and whatever it is? And so this is similar as if you would manually do this, like somebody wants something reimbursed and you would like take the receipt, put it into Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini and like check if it's okay. And it is now, it's valid and there's an explanation. But the difference is that this happens without you needing to actually open up the system. So the workflow just triggers this prompt. The agent comes to the conclusion that this receipt is valid. Seconds after someone like submits this, they're going to get like an email that just says, hey, please process this. This is sent to finance. And they're just told, hey, please process this and pay this person back. And the employee, like they fill out this form and literally seconds later, it just says, hey, congrats, it's been approved and it's going to be the request will be processed by the finance team. So instead of you needing to do this manually for every request that comes in, you have a process defined for what happens when someone asks for, in this case, a health benefit thing. Now, you don't have to go to a portal and fill out a form. You can also, instead of doing that, go to Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini, and you can connect it with all of the workflows that you have opened up for your employees or all of the workflows you want. And here, the employees, instead of going and finding the form and like knowing what to fill out, they will talk in their natural way and say something like, hey, I'm going on parental leave or something. What do I do? Or however they would word it, right? And what's happening now is that Claude now is connected with our tool, 50 Skills. And so it's sort of going, hey, it's just like a general kind of observation, just, hey, congrats. But then it's like, hey, if you're ready to like officially inform your company that this is happening, you can also just like share all the things with me, and that will trigger this process for parental leave. So it's basically going, and it knows that there's a parental leave workflow here. And the parental leave workflow is sort of asking people to officially notify the company, like telling them their name, email, all sorts of questions, like estimated date of birth and when they plan to go on leave, and they want to share something special, whatever it is. They can either fill out this form, like if you have a portal, it's fine, or they can go to Claude and just talk to it in natural language about anything that you've built a workflow for. And it will find the workflow in our product using this technology called MCP. We'll go in, it will find the right workflow, it will know how to trigger it, it will ask you all the questions needed to do it, and then it will basically trigger it onwards, just as if you had filled out the form on the portal. So that's another way to do it. And so it can get pretty powerful when you do these two things. But the third component, and that's the one I really want to work with you guys, is like, okay, this is nice, but like building a workflow like this, or even like building something more complex, like an onboarding one that looks like, I don't know, a much bigger one like this, where you have like a webhook with your ATS. So every time somebody is like, you've decided to hire them, they will start and it will I don't know, like you ask them a bunch of questions, and all the questions with the information you're collecting will like create all the paperwork. And once all the paperwork has automatically been filled out here, it will go on and it will, you can send it to e-signing. And once the e-signing document has been signed by all parties, it's going to do all the other things. Create users in a system. It's going to ask a manager what software and hardware is there, all these things. This can take time to do. But how can we do that shorter? And so that's sort of the magic thing I want to show you that I was talking about before. You can just go here and click like new workflow, and we can just call this demo. And this one I want to build with you. Instead of building it step by step and picking like, oh, you want a form to go out or something else, you can just ask the AI to build it. And so that's sort of my question to you guys. What do you want to see built here? And let's just see it get built in front of us. So any type of workflow, any type of issue, any request that you have in mind, let's see it get built in front of us right now. So who wants to go?
Hey, Kristjan, it's Janine. Sorry, I have my camera off. What about an onboarding workflow?
Sure. Let's build an onboarding workflow. Can you build me an onboarding workflow? And here you can, there's also like a ton of examples. You can pick anything you want if you just want to start with something basic. But let's just say this one here. You can decide plan it or have an agent just build it right away. I always recommend doing planning first, because if you put something in like this, then it's going to go over the request. It's going to check who you are, like what kind of company are you, and what it knows about you. And again, the greater the context, the better. But it doesn't know a lot now. So it's just going to go and ask some clarifying questions. Like, what type of onboarding is it? Is it for employees or vendors or partners or something else? Like employees, let's go for that one. Is it, what steps should it have? Like collect information or send a welcome email, or should it, like, I don't know, maybe just all of these or something. And let's just pick these three to begin with. And then it goes like, how should we call it? We call the system journeys, and the people going through the journeys are called travelers. But you can just think about this as people. Like, so how do people like enter this journey? And they can be manually added, or they can, somebody fills out a form to trigger it, whatever we pick here. And when we've answered these questions, the AI here is just going to go, okay, great. Now I know this. Now let's go and make a plan for this and see if you agree with the plan or not. And depending on how complex it is, like building that plan can take like 15 seconds to maybe 2 minutes in total. And when the plan is there, and we figure it off, it will actually build the whole thing in front of us. So let's just give it a minute or two now while this is happening.
Perfect. We have a couple questions. I think Tamara?
Yeah. Well, while we get the question in, I'm just going to start the plan so it gets built in front of us while we wait for questions. Yeah.
Or Stacy?
We can skip my question. I can save it for later.
Okay, it's fine. But what's interesting about it, and just jump in with questions, anything that comes up, you can kind of see how it's going to allow execute it like step by step here. And it's going to get looking really cool. And while it's building it, you can actually open up and see what it's doing. So now, for example, it's like, oh, I'm going to start with the flow. I'm going to build a form first. So the form here, that's the first step. It's actually been built already. So it's like if you want someone to go into the, we can update it and make it better later. But like, if you want someone to start into this form, you just need to put in their email, their name. It's asking for like phone numbers. And we had people from the Netherlands and the United States earlier. So you can kind of pick whatever you want there. And here it's sort of like, it's asking for the supervisor email in the start. We can probably change that one. So we can put that in, but it's just like basic relevant info for someone who is starting, right? And now it's built the form to start it off. And now it's already building the next step. So if you would like, and we'll try this in a second, but like once we fill out this form, the first thing that will happen is that the person will get an email. So now it's going like, hey, and if this was like Stacy, it would say, hey, Stacy, we're thrilled to welcome you to the company. We can't wait to have you join us on this date. And to kind of help you prepare for your first day, here are a few things. And it's kind of suggesting you to bring a valid photo ID. I mean, again, it doesn't know anything about your company. So it's just sort of doing a generic onboarding thing here.
I do have a question, Kristjan.
Yeah.
We're at the dinner table, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Any question.
So it connects with Claude, and I'm sure any other like Google Drive. If there is an onboarding document in there, can you just connect it to say like, see the file, the folder of onboarding, and create the workflow?
Yeah, you can draw it on a piece of paper and take a photo of it and post it in here and ask it to build it. Or you
So
can put
can we?
if you have if you have a PowerPoint or a Word doc or something that explains it in detail, and I would definitely recommend that. Like instead of using just like build me an onboarding workflow, like I would literally suggest that we would like let's say we all of us here, we're a team. What I would then suggest is that we would talk about the workflow, the onboarding workflow, for like 15 minutes. Like, how are we doing it today? How we want it to be in a perfect world? What's missing? What's painful? Those sorts of things. And we'd record it and get the transcript. We would then put the transcript in here and say, hey, this is the situation. Can you suggest a better workflow for us and just show us how that would look like? And it will literally build it out for you on the spot.
What is this Copilot? Like, which LLM is this? Is it built in? Like, where's the guidance coming from?
Yeah. So to explain that, so you can buy a subscription to Claude or Gemini or Copilot or whatever tool you want, right? And all the products that you see online that are like working and efficient, like most of them, they integrate with one or more of those models. So right now, when you're talking here, that's actually talking to the newest models from Claude, which is Opus 4.6.
Great.
But moving forward in the future, you can switch which models you'll want to use. You can have different providers that matter the most to you, and they'll have different results based on how good the models are. Yeah,
you could have like Perplexity in there in the future.
So you can already have Perplex. So there's two ways, or there's technically three ways you can use AI in this tool. You can have like here, you can use the navigator to build stuff and update stuff that you think should be better. You can then use AI as part of the process, like before with the health benefit thing. So like somebody fills out a form and an agent will like take a look at it and decide what to do next. And then the third way is like you can use this thing called MCP. So that if you like are in your Copilot or Claude or Perplexity or something, you're talking with it, that can check all the workflows that are in our system with all the info and get back to you with whatever it should be there. So those are the three ways to interact with AI today in the system.
So I think this is really neat. And I'm looking at the chat here, and someone mentions that it looks like a high-end version of N8N. So how is 50 Skills different from your N8N or Make or Zapier?
Yep. So we're actually we integrate with all of them. So some people that have already built something in N8N or Zapier or something, they can just click plus and they can just add an integration that you just find like Zapier or N8N here and add it if they don't see it, and they can have it trigger stuff in there. But the difference is maybe in one primary component. So if I just open another window here to show you, in our product, we have a concept called travelers. So like in this workflow that we had, let's just find another one here. So we had something called onboarding. Like you can see all the people that have been added to a process. So in our tool, it's always people going through a process. And if you click any of these individuals, you can see that all the steps have turned green in color that have been finished. And if they haven't been finished, if they're orange, for example, that means that we're still waiting for that person to fill out this form. And then you can view the form, you can resend it. You know that they got an email that says, hey, it's been 2 weeks. How's everything going? Here's a form to give us some feedback. Let's just take a look at what this form looks like. This is a feedback form. So this is like somebody, if I would fill it out now, like the person would fill it out like I loved the onboarding process, something like this, and send it in. Now it will turn green in color. See, it just turned green in color. So now we can track, have all the steps been completed for each person. And this is super useful because let's say you're onboarding, let's say all these people, 200 people, and each person is going through, in this case, 50 steps. That's 200 times 50. That's 10,000 steps, right? It's a lot of steps. And it could be IT might be responsible for one of them. And, your HR team has some of those tasks and their supervisor has some of them. And you need to track all of them where they are at. And this is a way you can do that. You can see how far along they are. And you can click any individual and see where they're at in that process. And you can also click, that's just the differentiator. If you click, you can see all of your people. And all of the process, like if you click my name, you'll see all of the processes that I've been added to here in this demo account. So if I click like any of them, you'll see where I'm at, when I was added to this process. Like this was something from March 19th, and like what happened, and what were all the details in every single step, those sorts of things. So that's a big differentiator. Just way easier to kind of build something where there's an individual going through it, but it's also a limiting factor to some extent, to give some kudos to N8N and Zapier. Like we are focusing on people processes. Like we're focusing on that element, which works for HR and certain ops elements. The other tools can work for anything. Like if an airplane lands, you turn on the light bulb. So we're limiting what it's being used for, but instead I think the interface and the experience should be a lot easier.
Sue has a good question. And it actually ties to the question that I just threw in there. Sue's question, but even legendary or Stacy's reactions live. Thanks, Shujat. Sue's question is about security. Can you talk to us about the security and compliance guardrails that you have in place with global requirements?
Yeah, 100%. So, I mean, we have all resources on it as well on our website. But if I just kind of talk about the high levels of it and just kind of open up the page as well, like everything is built for security. Like we are a company based, like it started out in Iceland and the Nordics, and we now have customers like worldwide. We have customers like Central Bank of Iceland. We have municipalities, like we have airlines like Icelandair as a customer that are counting on this to onboard every single person going on their planes. We're helping companies do like visa processes, working with police departments. So security is a big thing for us. So how we do it, there's a couple of things. Like, first of all, I mean, we host this. If I kind of go over the stack here, we host this with AWS, which is Amazon, and we make sure we're using services that are like in data centers that have been accredited under like all the main things that matter here, like ISO 27001, SOC 1, SOC 2, those sorts of things that like people typically look for. We're also like, we have extra certificates for different things. Like for example, to be able to sell to entities in the UK government, you need to have this thing called Cyber Essential Plus. And those are third parties that are just auditing people in our team. You can view the certifications on our website. So we try to be as transparent about all these things. Like what did they do? When did they do it? How long is it valid? When do they need to redo it? Those sorts of things. We also do penetration testing. So we pay companies to try and break into our product, create reports that can be accessed by teams that are doing due diligence. So it's regularly tested there. And these are things that are expensive. We also have enterprise contracts with both OpenAI and Anthropic, which are quite expensive to set in place to make sure that there's always zero data retention. The information in our tool is never used to train those models or any other sort. So there's all sorts of things there. So I'd say we go further than is required. We also need to be, for European companies, it's important for us to be like GDPR compliant. And so there's a lot of elements there that matter to the customers that are buying this from us. But I think these are kind of the high levels. We also have this, for anyone that's interested, we can send it after. We have like security package that goes over every single sub-processor that we use, where it's being hosted, their addresses, how it's being used, all the data that's being used in every single element. So we really take security seriously. And so I think we pretty much try to set this up in a way that most technical teams and people involved in companies take a look at it and can make sure that it's something they can trust on.
Love that.
Yeah.
I have a question in regards to the workflows. You said it's as simple
Yes.
as uploading a PowerPoint. Is it as simple as uploading a company policy and it helps build out that workflow?
Yeah,
Yes.
and there's many ways you can do it. So there's many ways you can do it. You can do like, if you're doing it, one way is to just talk to the navigator here and have it build stuff, and you can upload documents, or you can just talk to it, just tell it your thoughts, and it will like do it here. And it works in a similar way as if you're just talking to Claude directly. But what some people do is that they go to Claude first and they say, hey, I'm about to put a prompt into this system here. here's my policy, here's my documents, here's everything I have. Can you use all of that? And maybe this Claude or Copilot or whatever you have already has like, I don't know, a second brain with your company and all the details and context. And then you can say, hey, build me this prompt with everything you have in mind. So so the thing will get built in a proper way. And that can be really helpful to do as well. But you can also do it from here if you prefer. Some companies, what they've done is that they've built a ton of workflows in our system. And then, and I can show you this one, which is interesting. It's one way to make the employee handbook a little bit more actionable. So this is, if I just go here to the settings, MCP servers, create an MCP server and just go like all employees demo or something. And what you're doing here, you're adding the workflows you want, like let's just say employee onboarding. And you're saying, and now I want to add the employee onboarding workflow to this MCP server. And I want to say, this workflow should get initiated at any time when people are asking about employee onboarding as a manager. This is only accessible for managers. And if they want to trigger a new hire starting, they can, we'll have all the policies here and you can trigger it as long as they fill in the name of the person that's starting, the email and start date. And so I just spoke here and I kind of wrote it down. So what's happening here is that this MCP server that I just kind of built now, I can connect this with Gemini or connect it to third-party tools. I could connect this with Gemini or Claude. It looks pretty technical here, but like I'm adding all the workflows I want here. I'm putting in a description of when and how they should get triggered. And because of that, from now on, I can just tell my employees, if you need to know anything about the company, you don't need to read the employee handbook. You can just put in whatever question you have here. It will find it. And if it's applicable, it won't just tell you the answer, like the policy on parental leave, but it will literally allow you to trigger it. If you want something reimbursed, if you need new equipment, if you have a report of some sort, it will actually trigger it and make the workflow go off. So it's not just, so the description, you can think of that as the text for everything that comes up and then something else. But what you can also do in these tools like Claude and all these, I mean, you can just create your own employee handbook in text. You can connect your Claude to the employee handbook in text as well as our system. And so it can both have all the text information in one place, and then you can also have the triggers in a place like this one. So I'm getting pretty technical here, but you kind of get where I'm going with it.
A lot. This is so exciting. We have a couple of questions. So Nicola, your question is with regards to compliance and tracking, what about the AI used within the workflows? Can you see any info on that?
Yes, this is actually a great question. And for people who are in Europe, for example, a lot of people are thinking about the AI Act and et cetera. So let's say you have like health benefits here, the one we had before. What you can do here is you can go show hide fields. You can pick the agent and let's just hide everything and only show these fields here. So now you're seeing all the people who've gone through the workflow. And now you can, and we're looking at only the agent now. We're looking at what was the conclusion from the agent? Like what was the input into the agent? What was the conclusion? And for every single prompt that every single agent in this system that it uses, you can see, if I click him, you can see this is the agent. This is the prompt it used. This is the output from the prompt. So the paper trail is pretty perfect, right? Because like today, you don't have an idea what your employees are really using AI for.
And are you then, I mean, I'm sure the answer is yes. Are you then able to pull a report instead of going in this way? Can you pull a report to see this data?
Yeah, I mean, there's many ways to do it. I mean, one of them is just this thing here. You can just show and see the whole thing here. You can export this, or you can even connect this to any report tool you want, visualizing it in different ways. So you can have a step here that says add this to, this reporting tool or whatever, and just see the report gets built in live. So there are many ways to do it. You can also, and this is interesting, you can go into the workflow. You don't just use it to build stuff. Let's just say here, clear the chat here, and you can ask it, what does this workflow do? Can you explain every single step here, how it works, and how we can potentially make it better? Like you can just ask these questions and it will list it out. Or you can say, hey, I'm trying to explain to my company what we built here and why it's useful. or I want to write a blog about it or something. And you can just have it do that. And then you can do that for all of your workflows. And then you can ask it, what do companies like mine also have that we don't have right now? And can you then go build that? So it's sort of like, it's a different world.
Sue has a really good question. That's a nice kind of segue from what you're asking. So it seems to me like there's so much that could be done inside of 50 skills that you don't have to go outside very much. Sue's question is similar to that. She's asking if it's a multi-model LLM, so image, verbal, text, for example, that a verbal agent can do that you don't have to go create it elsewhere.
Yeah. So currently, you don't need other systems if you use it. You don't need it. You can just go in this one, you can create agents in the system, and you can have the agents do whatever you want, like going over these health benefits or whatever. And it has an API with OpenAI automatically. You don't need to have a subscription with OpenAI. You don't need to have a subscription with Claude. It's all built in the subscription of this system. So it's all there. But a lot of people already have a bunch of tools and they would like to amplify some of them. So if that's you, like maybe people use Slack for communication. And so it's fairly easy. Like when it reaches, like, I don't know, when a workflow gets triggered and the agent does its work, maybe it should notify you on Slack or a channel or something, or put the results there. And so, or it sends you an email or a text message, whatever it is you want. So like those things are like what people typically glue together and thinking like, how do I want to be notified when this happens? And if it's happening like, I don't know, 100 times a day, then you probably don't want to get notified. You just want to like check it out once a month or something.
So Sue's saying that she loves that. And then a follow-up great question also, Sue, is who are your typical users in HR? Is it HR ops or is it the business partners? What are you seeing?
This is changing a little bit, which is also interesting. So, I mean, depending on the size of the company, it's different people. But typically, it's like people that work in HR. So if you're a big company, you're an enterprise company with like 10 or 15,000 people, that role is like so defined in namings and structure that it's like, it's a category. But then you typically are in like HR ops or like all sorts of business partners, those types. If you're in the, let's say, smaller companies, like medium sized, like let's say 300 to 3,000 people, it's typically like also like HR people in general, the managers. There's often like a C-level person that buys it, but then there's like the other people on the team that build most of the things. In the smaller companies, it's very different. So if you're like sub 100 people, like you're 20 people to 100, it's like the person who's doing HR is also like often just running finance or ops or whatever. It's like they're just like they're 10 hats on their heads, and they don't really like have time to. They don't do the same complex. They don't need to deal with like a Workday or an SAP integration or something, and so they just want to be able to build stuff on their own. So we're seeing them often involving more team members from more teams.
How do you get HRIT, corporate IT ops? How do you get them bought in to love it and not be scared of it?
So I think there's maybe two ways. And this is an interesting one. I think one of the best ways to get like larger enterprise buyers or bigger companies to buy into anything is to let them try the tool. And you can literally do it for free. You can go to the website, 50skills.com. You can build an account for free. You can play with it. Ask the AI to build you anything. See it working. Try a template or build your own free account and add them to it. That's one way. That is, I think, one of the strongest ways. So even if a company has like huge compliance and huge processes and they have like an RFP or whatever, if they see this thing and they just know it works, like they'll figure out a way to get it on board. Like they want to know that this is real and it works and they're not making a mistake by picking this over something else. And I honestly think like the best product vendors out there, whoever it is, doesn't have to be us, just anything you look at. Like if they're not offering you to try things for free, if they only offer you to buy stuff with a lock-in for like a year or more, like I'd be careful because there might be some reason for that. Like, but if you can just try it before you buy it, you can get a feel for it. Anyone can. It just validates a bunch of points. We have one customer, like an airline, for example, that's saving like 50 hours a week with one process, like one workflow.
What makes you different from like the Zapier that has the pre-built HR workflows? Is it the journey? Is it the traveler journey that makes it different? Or is there something else that also makes 50 skills different from Zapier, especially when it comes to what we're talking about now, the the workflows and like a customer support is.
It's designed for HR. So all of our templates and use cases are there. There's also like this, so if you look at that, like there's like, we have best practices of all these things that are there. That's one thing. We also have these portals, right? So you have a portal that you can build that's designed for employees or supervisors or managers. Or the other part maybe to mention is like, because I'm a heavy user, I'm a big user of Zapier. I've used it for a decade, right? And most of the time, the people that build in Zapier or N8N, for example, are pretty technical. So you need to, I literally think it says it on the top of the website of N8N. It's like for technical like developers or something. And like we're in a different ballgame here. Like we're trying to lower the threshold for like millions of people to being able to build their own workflows. And so we're trying to figure out how can we do that? So every decision we make, we're wondering, how can we like make this good enough so you don't have to be a programmer to use it? And we're taking advantage of AI everywhere we can to do that, but like it's guiding every single decision we take moving forward.
I think you answered this, but one of my questions is we don't have to rip out any of our systems, right? And do you also plug in with enterprise level systems like a ServiceNow or a Workday, UKG?
Yeah. Yeah. So on a technical standpoint, there's two ways of doing integrations. There's like self-service integrations in the system. So you can just go in, you can open the marketplace, you can pick whatever tool you have. And it's like, it's called OAuth. So it's just like you log into your Google and it's connected. You log into your Slack, it's connected, right? And then you can like have it send messages from a channel. Well, that's like a super nice functionality and super easy to set up. Then there's like the enterprise level one, and that's called custom integrations. And the system actually like started as an integration builder. So you can go into the system and you can literally add any integration you want. So this is a technical one, but for the ones who are watching, I think you'll be interested here. So we have a lot of details on this one, but you can literally go in and just go settings. You can go integrations. You can go add. You can call it any integration that you can think of. You add it here. You can authenticate it, and it has all these authentication types. And this is technical, right? But this is like, what kind of authentication type are you looking to add? And once you've added it, you can decide all the endpoints. So if you have like an SAP or like whatever the complexity is, you can add all the endpoints you want, like create users in a system, update users in a system, archive them, delete them, retrieve information from them. There's so many ways you can do this. And so for those who are technical, this only gets built once like this. But once you've added something that's complex like this in the most technical part of the product, you can add steps by picking those integrations and just say, yeah, I want to create an employee in SAP. And now you can do it without knowing anything about technical stuff. You just build a form, and to create a user in SAP here, you need an email, gender, like position, whatever, like these basic things. So every integrations are different. Some of them are like super easy to again, just click, and it's there. Others are more complex. And we have like a big marketplace of those things, and we can help people kind of guide them through if they have questions about it.
Gosh, this has been so great. 50 Skills is so powerful, bringing together all the complexities of HR. So I have found this very powerful. Well, that's a wrap.